Hello and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Adrienne and I make content on makeup. Eyeshadow palettes are my favorite. I'm also a licensed esthetician and a bridal makeup artist, so occasionally you may see videos related to those two businesses, but today I'm coming to you guys to talk to you about all the Black Friday sales and some of the palettes that I really wanted that I did not pick up. And the first palette that I'm going to go with is the Be Perfect, the fourth Carnival palette. I think it's the Antidote palette. I'm not sure what it's called. Another Stacey Marie collaboration with Be Perfect Cosmetics. I really like that palette and I'm pretty surprised that I liked it because they did it in really dark, like burnt orange, brownish orange, the packaging, and that looks like the kind of the theme of the part of the palette, a large majority of it, but some of those shades look so fiery. And when I don't really care for orange colors, it's typically when you can't tell if you think it's going to be a brown shade, but you go to put it on and it pulls really orange on the skin tone. I don't like those surprise looks, so typically I try to shy away from a lot of the warmer tone shades, which is so funny that I'm saying that when I'm wearing a warm tone look and my crease is super warm today. And by the way, I did record a video of this look. It is the ABH Cosmetics June Birthstone palette, the Pearl palette. So that video should already be up, and I'll post a card up here so that you can click on that video and also leave a link down in the description box so you can watch it at the end of this video. But back to what I was saying. That kind of made me shy away from it a little bit. So I looked at the bottom row and I saw that it really was a lot of red, and of course that palette, it seems to be divided into three parts. The third part of it is a grungy green with lots of gold and yellow, and I love the color story. And anytime I see palettes like that, no matter how many I have like it, I always want to pick it up. And the mid-tone shades looked like kind of more taupey, neutral, with a little bit of mauve in it. So I can kind of rock with that. That's just kind of in between. But with the other two shades on each side, I actually was more excited by the orangey, fiery red side than I was the middle. But I decided not to get it because I feel like I have so many of those grungy green shades that I didn't need to spend that kind of money on the palette. Even when I saw that Beauty Bay, or no, I think it was the actual BH, not BH, but Be Perfect Cosmetics had a sale, I decided to skip out on it and to get some other things. And a lot of these palettes that I'm going to tell you about that I wanted that I didn't pick up, it's partially because I am so backlogged on palettes and I'm really working, trying to, pretty much I'm trying to get a video up almost every day right now, and I'm overloaded with stuff, and I don't want more palettes on my plate that make me feel confused, like I don't know which videos to make for you guys next. And it's not saying that I'll never pick these palettes up, but for right now, I've got more than I can handle. So that's a palette that I was a little bummed that I didn't get, but I can always go back and get it later. And next, moving on, is Viseart. And I have bought so many Viseart palettes in the last year for my pro kit and for personal use. And Viseart just really started knocking it out the park at the end of the year with their collections. And this Beigouette palette, oh my gosh, I wanted that Beigouette palette so bad. Those jewel tones, at some point I am going to get it. And they did put it on a good sale on the Viseart website, and Muse Beauty did have quite the sale going on. But the thing is I tried to buy enough product to get free shipping, and I didn't think I would get free shipping, and I placed so many other orders for Black Friday that I just decided to wait on that palette until I knew I had the time to make a dedicated video for it right away, because I don't want to feel bad getting a palette like that and sticking it in a drawer and not getting to it for months. That palette I feel like would be perfect in my pro kit because it's beautiful jewel tone colors, and I think a person that was asking for color would like those shades quite a bit. And also, I don't know what this palette is called, but I'm going to go ahead and post a picture of it. This palette, whenever I get that Beigouette palette, I will probably buy this. Just that smoky, grayish blue tone palette. It looks right up my alley. I think it's just so gorgeous, but I have some other palettes like that that I have not touched yet that I need to get into, but I was bummed passing those up, knowing that I might not be able, when I'm ready to get those palettes, get such a great deal on it. I still decided to go ahead and not get them. The Cashmere palette, I kind of thought about that. I don't think I would get into it much personally on my own after making a video for you guys. So I don't think I'm going to get it. I think it would be a nice bridal palette, but I'm still not going to purchase it just for that, because I do have some other bridal palettes that I think are just as nice in my pro kit already. So that's why I skipped out on that one. And also, I thought the Mandalorian palette was really cute from ColourPop, but again, ColourPop releases so many different things, and I feel like so many of the color stories are so similar that you kind of need to pick and choose, you know, otherwise your whole makeup collection could turn into ColourPop, and I think ultimately that is their goal. The way they release stuff, I feel like they're like, we don't get you this week, we'll get you next week, and if it's not next week, okay, instead of releasing one collection for the week, we'll release 2 or 3, so you're bound to buy something on a weekly basis. But I really have cut back on a lot of the ColourPop that I'm bringing into my collection, not because I don't like a lot of the things, but I would like to be able to give other brands a chance. So that's why I left that palette alone, because I thought that one was cute. And then I thought that other, what it was, Still Quartz palette, I thought that was a really pretty palette too. So I'm really being picky and choosy what I order from ColourPop, and have a really good reason as to why I want anything I buy from them, and making sure that it is something that I will most definitely use, because they do the most all the time. And when I miss a collection from them, I never feel like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to get this. I'm like, whatever, what are they going to have next week? And that's a good and a bad thing. It makes me sometimes just completely turn a blind eye to them, but the marketing strategy seems to be working for them, and they don't seem to be slowing down anytime soon. So whatever works for them, I guess. In this economy, I would think that things would be getting hard for them like they are some other brands. And speaking of other brands, especially indie brands during this time, I wanted some from the Glam Shop. I'm definitely at some point going to order from them. Part of the thing that I keep waiting on is for the prices to come up in English a little bit easier. I'm just not sure. Things that I have in my basket, I've had things in my basket on their website for months now. Not knowing what the price of the products are going to be, that's one reason why I haven't ordered from them. But there's quite a few palettes, like is it actually called the Camo palette? I'm not sure. A Camo palette. There's a really orchid looking palette that I like. There's a lavender palette that I like. Some of their single shadows, the duochrome, multichrome single shadows, look gorgeous to me, and I really wanted those. But right now, I'm just going to hold off till I get through some of my stash. Shopping my own stash is like going shopping for me, putting in an order. There's so many things in my collection that I've never swatched or used at all. So I need to get through some of my other things before I go grab so much other new stuff. Natasha Denona also, she ran some pretty decent sales on her website, and I wanted to get the bundle because she seemed to bundle everything up, and everything was bundled with the Zendo palette. And I've heard from so many people that the Zendo palette is not such a great palette. Not that it's horrible, but that the shimmer shades in that palette are not the bold, vibrant shades that she's typically known for. And that's typically why I want her palettes. I can get palettes that have just a kind of metallic sheen to them without being vibrant like her shades that she's known for. I can get those in any drugstore palette. So even on sale, the Zendo palette is still a little pricey when you've got so many other drugstore type brands that you can get great quality from. So I kind of held off on that. I was thinking of getting the bundle of the Zendo palette and the Sunrise palette. The Sunrise palette is totally my color story and I really like it a lot, but I did purchase the, I think it's called the Aurora palette, and I forgot what the brand is, the one that dupes all of Natasha Denona's palettes. I do have that and I do think the quality of it is good. I'd started recording a video of it like a year or so ago, so I've got like a snippet of me putting together one look, but I don't have like the total palette. Maybe one day I'll just complete the whole video and let you guys see. If you're even interested, I probably won't go back and mess with that unless someone lets me know that that's something that they're interested in, because that palette has been out, the Sunrise and that Aurora palette, for so long, but it made me not want to go ahead and spend the money even though it was a deal on that palette, especially getting it in a duo with the Zendo palette, which when I really started looking at the Zendo palette and studying it, it reminds me so much of the bronze palette. And if you saw my room tour video, you saw in my vanity that I picked up the bronze palette, and no, I've never used it. I really didn't want to end up with a duplicate palette in that budget. I was looking at her really expensive palettes, her, what is it, 28, 29 pan palettes, the pro palettes, the, what is it, the green and brown and the purple and blue, and I've wanted those palettes for a long time, but I have not been able to justify spending that much on them. It's not something that I'll get to use in my pro kit, the type of makeup clients that I work on. It's not something that I would use on a regular basis, and because I do review so much makeup, for the channel, I probably would not be able to use that palette enough to get my money's worth out of it, and it would take forever for me to even make one video of each one of those palettes for you guys and never be able to get back into it because I'm always moving on to the next. So even though that was a great deal on those palettes, and I think pretty much it was buy one get one free by the time you broke the discount down, and it did seem like I was passing up a good deal, but still the $236 or $39, however much it was still a lot on the budget. And who knows, maybe someday I'll get those palettes, but today is definitely not the day. So I decided to pass up on those. And speaking of luxury brands, I also wanted the Pat McGrath, that Celestial Divinity. I think it's called Celestial Divinity 2 or whatever it is. I'll post a picture of it up. And I know that I could have got it at a discounted price, but there were so many other things that I wanted to get that even with the discounted price, it's still a lot of money for one palette. Those luxury palettes, they take quite a chunk out of your budget. And when you are a person that does like drugstore quality makeup, a lot of the different brands, you can buy so many palettes for what one of those palettes will cost. So I'm choosing to wait and gamble on it and see if it's still available in a month or two and goes on sale again, and maybe I can get it at that point. But like I said, there were so many other things that I was bombarded with that I knew I wanted to get, and I'm going to bounce right back to Natasha Denona also. The Retro palette, I did look at that one in store and thought about picking it up. I swatched it and I thought it was okay. I mean, I have so many berry tone palettes that it wasn't anything extraordinary. It's not a bad palette by any means, and I may at some point pick that palette up. It wasn't on sale for her website, and I only get, I think I'm VIB for Sephora, so I only get 15% off, and that wasn't a good enough deal for me to pick that palette up at that time. And I have other palettes that I can use in my bridal palette that will create a mauve look for my clients, because I thought maybe that would be a good one to have for that, and I still agree that it might. But at this time, there were other things that I wanted to try, so I decided to hold off on it, especially since it's been out for a couple months, and me getting it just to make a video for the channel, it's kind of old news as far as YouTube is concerned, but I did really want it in my collection, which means at some point in time I probably will go back and get it, because it is a palette that I do want in my collection. I just didn't feel like now was the right time to buy it. And I think those are the two higher end brands that I didn't pick up any of their palettes. I thought for a second about trying out some Charlotte Tilbury and then changed my mind on that one. And I know you guys, if you haven't watched my Rose Quartz video, the Huda Beauty Rose Quartz video, I'll post a link to it up above and you can click on that and watch it. But I was thinking about getting the Mercury Retrograde palette to complete my Huda Beauty collection of all of her large palettes. I just could not do it, even on sale. I know she had it marked half off. I still decided not to pick that palette up from C Color Cosmetics. I do have a knockoff of that palette, and I think I'm going to get into the knockoff of the palette and see if I really even want that color scheme. I've seen that Retrograde palette in person multiple times when it first was released. It was before all the pandemic shutdowns happened, so I was able to swatch that palette in store, and I didn't really care for it on my arm, so I thought maybe I wouldn't like it as much as I thought I would once I got it home. Although I have seen some videos of people that created really pretty looks with it, but since I have the knockoff, I think I'm going to stick with that once I get into it, because that's a lot of money also to pay for a palette that pastels. I can do some cute things with them, but I'm not going to reach for a matte pastel, especially on a daily basis. It's going to be for a special, unique, thought out, planned look for some type of occasion, to bring on some type of vibe. It would not be something that I would ever reach for on a daily basis. So to have something like that in my collection when I have so many other pastels in some affordable makeup palettes and also in my Glam Light Ice Cream Dream palette, is just, that's a lot for me to spend right now when there's other things that I want. So basically, I think that covers about all the palettes. Oh, Menagerie Cosmetics. I've wanted to try Menagerie Cosmetics for like 2 or 3 years now. Every time I go to their website to try to get a hold of something that I want, it's never in stock. It seems like typically all the time all their stuff is sold out and I can't get my hands on it, and I've kind of given up trying. And to tell you the truth, I didn't even go to their website to see if anything that I wanted was in stock. Annette's Makeup Corner, her palette, I don't even know if it's still available. Like that one I wanted to pick up, and I think there's a palette from Lethal Cosmetics that I wanted also. I just didn't even look into getting that one because, like I said, I'm so backlogged with palettes that I really don't even know when I'm going to get to all the palettes that I have. So that's the main reason why a lot of those palettes I didn't pick up. But like I said, you never know. In the future, a lot of those palettes, you will end up seeing them on my channel, because it's not a no permanently. It's just a no for now till I can get a handle on the stash that I already have. But I do have a pretty exciting stash, I have to say. But even though I'm excited, in YouTube world, all my stuff is probably old news. But if you do have a lot of palettes that you bought and shoved in a drawer, or just haven't figured out how to get the most out of, this is definitely a channel you'll want to be subscribed to, because I'm going to be shopping my stash like crazy in the year 2022 before I'm busy taking in too much more, because I don't want to have so many duplicates of shadows, and I don't even know if people are reselling things or how they're getting rid of things during the pandemic, if people are like germaphobes, which there are ways to clean makeup and still pass it on, because that's what we as makeup artists have to do. We're definitely not getting a brand new palette for everyone, but I still don't want to be hoarding makeup. I think I'm a little too late for that though, as I'm saying that. Well, yeah. Doesn't matter, I am hoarding makeup already, but I don't want to hoard more makeup, I should say. I'm going to stop rambling now and go ahead and cut this video here. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel to support it. I'll see you soon.